Warm greetings from Brussels. I apologize for not being able to be with you this morning in Geneva, but unfortunately I was not able to travel and join you. Today I would like to cover two examples of economic violence against older women in which states could take action. First of all, the risk of economic harm and deprivation in old age, which results from some pension reforms. Secondly, the risk of financial domestic violence and restrictions of their financial independence faced by older women with low financial literacy and poor digital skills. So my presentation is mainly based on the lived experience of older women in European countries. But similar challenges are reported in other regions of the world, so I hope that my remarks will be useful for all of you. In most countries, important pension reforms have been introduced with a dual objective: to ensure the long-term financial sustainability of pay-as-you-go system without shifting the burden of demographic aging to the future generations, and to introduce gender equality in systems which were initially designed on the one bread earner household model, in most cases the man. This often meant aligning women and men's retirement age, sometimes over rather short periods. To achieve gender equality in pension, gender equity measures are needed. If gender equity is not embraced, older women may end up facing more deprivation. Gender equality measures must be carefully designed with a risk assessment for the diversity of profiles, including the most vulnerable among us. Indeed, even in countries where transition measures were introduced to protect women in older age brackets, we can see today that actually the risk of economic hardship is increasing among older women due to a lack of compensation for the disadvantage they have faced throughout their lives as a result of bearing and raising children or caring for dependent relatives, for example. Since significant cuts are introduced in parallel in social protection provision, mainly to lower public budget spending, we fear that this risk of institutional economic violence is not going to reduce in the future unless adequate public funding is allocated to support accessible and affordable child and long-term care services. Let me move now to the risk of financial domestic violence and restrictions of their financial independence faced by older women with lower financial literacy and poor digital skills in today increasingly digital societies. Although the risk of financial abuse is not new, the rapid digitalization of retail payment services, combined with a decrease in access to and acceptance of cash in shops and public services, put older women with low financial literacy and or poor digital skills at a higher risk of domestic violence. The lack of inclusive retail payment solution is actually forcing many older women to hand over the control of their assets to a third party, be it a son or daughter, a friend or carer. This denies them the right to keep control of their assets and puts them at a higher risk of financial domestic violence. The risk is particularly high for widows or divorced women whose partner used to deal with the household finances. Designating a trusted person to manage their assets is often the recommendation they get from the bank, although with a bit of help, they would be able to improve their financial literacy and learn how to manage their account digitally. Why is that so? Because they are older women and considered unable to learn new skills. States can help prevent domestic financial abuse through policies that make it mandatory for banks to offer alternative non-digital financial services that are available and affordable to all who need them. Public authorities can also ensure that financial literacy programs and digital skills training are adapted to the needs of older women to help them enjoy their right to financial independence and to be protected against domestic economic violence. Finally, states could also ensure that staff from help centers for victims of domestic violence get adequate training to spot and tackle domestic financial violence risks faced by older women. Very few of them actually understand the issue here. I thank you in advance for all your efforts to protect the rights of older women to enjoy a life free of all forms of gender-based violence, including economic violence, and I wish you a fruitful meeting.